Hey guys, welcome back to my channel all about English with Divyata. Now, we'll be doing a very great masterpiece of Premchand, Godan. Before beginning with the novel, let's know something about the novel and the writer. Premchand's real name was Dhanpat Rai and he was also called as Nawab Rai. It's a very long story related to him as why he is called as Premchand, but I'll not be dealing with it as it will take a lot of time. Now, Godan was published in 1936 and it was the last completed novel of Premchand. This novel is basically a realistic interpretation of Indian village society, the backbone of India. It is a story of changing people, hungry and semi starved, yet hopeful and optimistic, representing the true and vivid picture of India with a stark realism. What does it mean here? That yes, this novel was a story, has a story which portrays the real Indian village life, as there are people living in the villages who are semi starved, they are hungry, but then also they keep faith in life. Okay, yes, they do every single thing with full enthusiasm without losing hope. Moving ahead, in the view of many scholars, a masterpiece like this has many qualities. Okay, for different people, it may result in different opinions, and they may be influenced differentially. Nevertheless, if a single reader only reads it again and again, she views it with a new content each time. Okay, like if I only read it twice and thrice, at every end of my reading, I'll come with a new suggestion that yes, it means something else. I'll come up with a different opinion the next time. Sometimes a farmer's problem, sometimes destiny's problem, sometimes his fate. Okay, all these things. Different things will crop up in different people's mind. For example, I'll cite two examples over here. Like Nand Dulari Vajpayee views Godan as a complete representation of Indian livelihood. Then again, Dr. Ramvilas Sharma views it from the point of being in debt and issue of loan. As we'll read the novel, as we'll go to it, we'll find out many problems, many situations which occur in the text. Okay, so it will become an opinion for us that yes, something else will be in my opinion, something else will be in yours. If you read it once you'll find out the Indian village life, the another time hope you'll find the debt problem, the next it can be the issue of loan, another problem can be his son. Everything can happen, anything can crop up in your mind. Now moving ahead, I won't be doing the novel line by line over here. Okay, rather I'll be dealing the central plot of the novel, then the theme of the novel and the characters involved in it. Okay, now I'll name a few characters over here. The protagonist of the play is Hori Ram. Okay, the farmer. Dhania is also the second protagonist of the play. Gobar, Sona and Rupa are their son and daughter. Then Bhola Agwala, Jhunia Bhola's daughter. Kamta and Jhangi, Bhola's son. Rai Sahib, a zamindar, a nationalist. Mehta, a professor and a philosopher. Malti, doctor. Matadin and Dattadin are Brahmins. Celia, a cobbler girl impregnated by Matadin. Okay. Damri, a wicker fellow. Then Mangru, moneylender. Thakur Chinguri Singh. Okay, he is also a moneylender. Then a Gapru, Kashmiri family, Pandit Unkanath, editor of the Daily Flash. Mr. Shyam Bihari Tankha, an insurance agent who started as a lawyer and then took as an insurance agent. Mr. Khanna, manager of a bank and managing director of a sugar mill. Govindi, Mrs. Kamini, wife of Mr. Khanna. Mirza Qureshi, Muslim businessman. Thakur Jhinguri Singh, a moneylender, as I mentioned above. Ganga Singh, a policeman. Ramu, Celia's son. Munnu Mangal, Jhunia's son. Ram Sevak, Rupa's husband. Okay, here I have mentioned the characters which are frequently mentioned in this novel, and if you just note down these characters, I'm sure it will help you a lot in your answering part. Now, the story begins with Hori in the village of Simari and Bilari, which are in Awadh. Okay, beginning with the central plot of the novel. In the beginning of the novel, Hori fulfills his foremost wish of life, that is to buy a cow. Okay, an act symbolizing the level of prestige in the Brahmin society. He just gets the cow from Bhola on a deal that he'll arrange his marriage. Okay, however, this act of Hori quickly spirals into his socio-economic ruination. Okay, the mere thought of rise in Hori's esteem due to the cow among the villagers forces his brother Hira, out of jealousy, to poison the cow. Hira flees after committing this crime. Okay, after poisoning the cow, after the cow dies, he just flees away from the village and comes after a very long duration. Now, leaving behind his helpless brother to face the entire village. Hori is left out after his cow being poisoned. He is just left out like that. Moreover, Hori faces another economic as well as psychological trauma when his son Gobar flees away from the house after impregnating Junia, daughter of a cowherd Bhola. Okay, he gets another psychological trauma when his son Gobar impregnates Junia, the daughter of a cowherd, that is Bhola, and leaves her away. But after being thrown out of a familial home, Junia is forced to live with Hori and Dhanya. Okay, Junia starts living with Hori and Dhanya, and honor bound. And honor bound means एहसान फरामोश. Okay, we can say that yes, वो वहाँ रह रही थी एहसान के चलते. उसको लग रहा था कि होरी के गोबर के मम्मी पापा, दैट इज़ होरी एंड धनिया, उसके ऊपर कुछ एहसान किए हैं उसको अपने पास रख करके, क्योंकि धनिया के घर झुनिया के घर वाले उसको निकाल दिए थे उसके घर से जब उन लोगों को पता चला था कि दैट शी वॉज प्रेग्नेंट, एंड दैट टू फ्रॉम गोबर. Hori's kindness towards Junia leads to the imposition of another massive time upon him by the village officials. Okay, now when Hori keeps Junia in her home, in his house, he faces another problem. Okay, they are outraged at him for allowing a promiscuous woman to live in the house. The village officials, they just shout and howl at him as to why he is keeping that ominous girl in his house. Okay, his plight even worsens as he is forced to incur more debt in order to plan his daughter Sona's marriage with pomp and fare. Now he is in more debt as he has to plan his daughter's wedding, Sona's wedding, Sona his elder daughter. Okay, without any dowry. The bridegroom agrees to marry her without any dowry. Yet Dhanya declines his offer as she believes that money comes and goes, but prestige lasts. Here we can see that yes, at that time, giving dowry, दहेज देना, लोगों को लगता था कि हाँ पैसा तो आते जाते रहेगा लेकिन प्रेस्टीज हमेशा नहीं आएगा. अगर हम आज दहेज नहीं देते तो हो सकता है कल होकर के मेरी बेटी के ससुराल वाले ये बोले कि दहेज नहीं मिला, या फिर कोई प्रॉब्लम्स हो सकता है उसके लाइफ में. तो दैट वाज अ सॉर्ट ऑफ प्रेस्टीज फॉर देम, especially for Dhanya, and she wanted to give that dowry. Another girl whom we find who is supported by Hori is Celia. Okay, Celia again the cobbler woman who was pregnanted by Matadin, the Brahmin boy, left out because of a lower caste. Hori's staunch belief in dharma, his code of honor, and Dhanya's sensitivity towards the maintenance of social prestige makes both of them the perpetual victims as well as the perpetrators of symbolic violence. Okay, they face a lot of violence, not physically but emotionally, and they feel very. Hori thinks that all these things in his life are just happening because of his previous doings, his past life, okay, his previous birth. And if we see that according to the Hindu cosmology, the cause, the happenings of this present birth is the cause of our previous birth, and whatever we are doing in this birth will affect our next birth. Okay, now, so the drastic deterioration of the economic condition forces Hori to wed his teenage daughter to a man close to his own age. Okay, Rupa is married to a man who is same age as his Hori, just because of the debt problem. Hori faces the physical frail as he is seen working ceaselessly in order to pay his debts and fulfill his cherished dream of buying a cow once again. Ultimately, working long in scorching weather results in the falling gravely ill. Despite being in his deathbed, Hori continues to lament over things that never came to fruition, means that were never fulfilled. He just kept trying every single thing till he was on his deathbed to fulfill his desires, but he couldn't fulfill those. Dhanya tries to prepare medical concoctions to save her husband. Hira and other villagers put a step forward to her efforts and ask her to give a cow to Dattadin in charity. Okay, at last, when the novel comes at the end, there we see why this novel has been named Godan. When Hori dies, okay, the villagers, especially Hira, tells Dhanya to give a cow in charity, that is to do a Godan. In Hindi we say na Godan, so it is known as Godan. Okay, so this novel has been mentioned Godan, but she couldn't do that Godan, she couldn't give the cow in charity because she did not had enough money to buy a cow and give it in charity. She had few amount of money with her which she gives to Dattadin and requests him to accept her offerings. Okay, now again we'll see that Malti is another character of the novel who is a doctor by profession. She is coquette who is more interested in catching the attention of men than paying attention to the sick. This prejudice by Malti forms the basis of an interaction on verbal sparring with Mr. Mehta, professor, okay, who is an acquaintance of a Rai Sahib, a zamindar. Mr. Mehta is also a self-proclaimed idealist. He is an articulate intellectual and is frequently invited by the educational institution and social rights motivated clubs to prevent keynote speeches. Okay, Mehta is also very vocal about his views on the role of women in society during his speech at Malti's club, the Women's League. The club of Malti's club's name was the Women's League. Mehta points out that womankind attempts to step outside the sexual binaries and interfere in men's sphere is the greatest shame of the century. Okay, according to him, it is the greatest shame that women are getting out of the sexual binaries and attempting something. It was a shame to him. Mehta compares women to be a swan and man to be an eagle. In his view, man's role is of a philosopher, scientist, warrior, statesman, navigator, Mahatma, founder of religious, etc., has mainly been to initiate endless violence. On the other hand, he defines woman based on the ideals of, he thinks women to be sacrificial, selfless, being always in service, non-violent, and being a forgiver, that they forgive everyone for everything. In his view, the ideal of love involves successfully incorporation with oneself and another perspective about oneself. In situations revolving around love, and the lover wants to be the absolute source of all the values of the beloved. The novel here ends with Dhanya being part with the money to appease Dattadin over her inability, okay, to gift him a cow. The demand for a cow in charity is it in fact put forth by the brother-in-law, that is Hira. The villagers insist upon Hira's suggestion of gifting a cow to Dattadin so that he can pray for the recovery of the gravely ill Hori. The scene emphasizes the callousness inherent of the ideology of a caste and class driven society. Okay, here we can also see the caste and class driven society, that yes, She needs to give a cow in charity so that Dattadeen prays. Being of a Brahmin caste, she prays to God so that Hori recovers from his illness and comes out of his deathbed. And just because Dhanya does not even have any money to pay the doctors, they are only concerned with upholding social conventions. So she believes in this sort of, what can we say, a black magic. Okay, that yes, she does not have that much money to give it to the doctor, so she believes that yes, prayer will do, but that does not happen and her husband dies. Okay, now if we look at the themes in this novel, we'll see that there are many themes like caste, desire, love, poverty, jealousy. Okay, all these things are described with connectivity to each other in the novel. If you read the novel one by one, line by line, it will give you a lot of pleasure and you'll understand it very easily. Okay, and you'll understand all the themes included in it. The novel is has basically portrayed the realistic interpretation of the Indian village society. Here, Premchand, in a coordinate manner, links the city life and the village life too, using the character of Gobar. Okay, once Gobar moves to the city, his behavior, his way of presenting himself changes a lot. And when he was in the village, he used to just move around, loiter around here and there. But after moving to the city, after settling in the city, his whole attire changes very impressively. Yes, he becomes very impressive. So Premchand has portrayed each and every character very beautifully over here, linking each and every character to each other and depicting all these themes included in it. Now, as we see the character sketch, if we look onto it, the protagonist of the play is Hori Ram. Okay, now if there comes a question to you, if you're asked to write the character sketch of Hori, you can write these things. That Hori is the protagonist of the play Godan. He appears to us representing the poor farmer class. He is a man who keeps faith in working hard with honesty. He is a man who loses from time to time, gets disheartened at times, but then also, with the spirit of a strong man, he takes all his losses very happily and tries to keep pace with them. He never lets his past loses to destroy. What it means that he never lets his past losses to destroy his present. In the whole village, his life, he had to work rigorously till the last drop of his blood. He had to face the criticism of his son Gobar and his wife, even had to face the exploitation of upper caste people. Despite of all these, he continued to work hard till the death came at his feet. As we see, Hori was in debt of huge ransom, due to which he had developed a thinking that debt is that guest which, if welcomed once, does not easily goes back. This is a line quoted in the novel. Okay, written in the novel by Premchand. You can quote these lines in the context of while writing the character sketch of Gobar. It will help you fetch good marks. Hori believes that the exploitation caused to him is due to his fate and destiny, which cannot be terminated in this life. He is also the sufferer of feudal system and zamindari system. He thinks that as a gift of God and remains satisfied. He thinks that his present life is the cause of the actions done in his previous life. Okay, now here the word feudal system is mentioned, or zamindari system. Many of you will not understand this. Feudal system means, like, I'll explain it in Hindi for your better understanding. एक ज़मींदार होगा, उसके ज़मीन पे बहुत सारे फार्मर्स काम करेंगे, ठीक है, और सारे फार्मर्स को एक एक पोर्शन मिलेगा. वहाँ वो रह भी सकते हैं और अपना एग्रीकल्चरल प्रोडक्शन भी कर सकते हैं. लेकिन जो एग्रीकल्चरल प्रोडक्शन होता है उसमें से अप्रॉक्सीमेटली 1/10 of the share is to be given to the zamindar, and whatever is left over is to be sold out and is kept by the farmer himself. This was the feudal system. Okay, feudal lord was the zamindar whose land was there and on whose land the farmers worked. Okay, so all these things, and at last you can also mention that at last Hori is a limited man who thinks that his present life is due to the deeds done in his previous life, and from which he cannot free himself only when, and which from which he can free himself only when he dies. All these things can be mentioned in the character sketch of Hori, which will help you fetch good marks. Okay, and I'll explain the second character, the second protagonist character, Dhania. If you get a character sketch to write hers, we can write that Premchand portrays Dhania as another most important character of Godan. A very sympathetic physical appearance of hers is portrayed in the novel. She is only 36 years old, but her face is creased with wrinkles. Her wheat complexion has turned sallow. Sallow means dull. Eyesight dim, hair has turned grey. All this had happened just to her because of the canker of poverty. She is alone to fight from the society. She has a self respect of own. She is also with motherly affection, as when she readily agrees to keep Junia, who was impregnated by her son Gobar, and then Celia by Matadin. Even after spending her whole life in hand in front in the canker of poverty, she does not spreads her hand in the front of anyone due to her self-esteem. She is an ideal woman as a revoltee. We can see this quality when she revolts against the wrongs done. She is a loyal and truthful person. She is a dutiful wife who, even in the hard times of her husband, does not leaves him alone and prays for his long life. She is superstitious and determined, which is one of the reason for portraying her as an important character. Okay, hope all these explanations will help you understand this novel very, what can I say, it will help you understand the novel in a very easy way. And if just know, while listening to this explanation, just keep on writing the key points. Okay, this is a very good way to understand things and prepare for your exams and prepare your answers. Just keep on noting the key points and prepare your answers on your own. Put the new words to it, don't just copy anyone else's.